Okay, good evening, everybody. Good evening and welcome to Extreme Business Makeover. And this is our Saturday Q&A. And as you know, on Saturdays, what I do is open it up for questions. And if you have any questions, feel free to just write them here in the question box. I'll be happy to take them. And even if I start covering a topic and you have a question, those questions, at least on this call, take precedent. And this is our Saturday Q&A. When that is not the case, and there are not a lot of questions, and sometimes they're not, we will cover one aspect of building an online business. Now, this is a little different from our Tuesday call. On Tuesday, we're talking primarily about helping you to market your own business. So you have an existing business. Maybe you don't want to have an agency, and you're trying to figure out some strategies that you can execute that will help you to generate more leads and sales into your business. That's for Tuesday. And that's not to say that we don't cover those things on Saturday, but on Saturday, what we try to do is we stick to building the online part of your business or just building an online business from scratch. And that's going to be more and more evident, more and more needful as this time during what we call the pandemic goes forward. What we're going to talk about tonight is blogging for business. And this is something that if you don't like to write, this may be something that you just may want to pay attention to anyway. And if you do like to write, well, this is going to be something that's right down your alley. And even if you don't, this is a necessary, I don't even want to call it evil. This is something that will give you the opportunity to reach people and establish trust. And that's what we want to do. We're doing information marketing. We want to establish trust. And that's everything that we're going to be talking about, whether you're building an online business or you are building out the online portion of your business. So let's talk about blogging for business. What's blogging? First of all, and I'm going to define this broadly. I'm going to define this differently than maybe you're used to. And basically, I call blogging the regular creation of information, right? And content delivered to a regular audience. That's what blogging is. And so whenever you are thinking about, am I a blogger, or am I going to be uh, let's see, let's see, I think my presentation screen. I think I might have turned off my presentation screen. So let me turn that presentation screen back on. Let me see, I think I might have given Laurel the controls accidentally. So let me turn those controls back off. All right, so I think I'm sharing my screen now. All right, hopefully. Okay, sorry about that. So what's blogging, right? A blog is a regular creation of information and content, and you're doing this to a regular audience. That's pretty much what you're doing. And so it doesn't have to be writing. If you think about blogging broadly, a lot of things can be blogging, and we'll get into that here in this session. And what has blogging traditionally meant? It's traditionally meant that you're writing something and you're doing something on WordPress or any kind of platform. That's typically what blogging is. And again, I want to define this broadly because if you're delivering information to a regular audience, you can be doing the same thing that a blogger might do. And now, since every platform you have allows people to interact with you, you can then exercise the same level of control, over what it is you communicate, as well as be the same level of control over the connection you make with your market. Um, Written content is not the entire universe of blogging. And so you don't want to shy away from blogging because you don't like to write or you don't think you can sustain writing. I am not necessarily someone who likes to write. But I have found that there are other ways of being able to regularly communicate with your audience. In fact, I would almost put podcasting in the same, I'd say the same genre or the same category as blogging because you're establishing the connection, except you're doing it by audio. So you can do it by video. In other words, you can do a video blog or a YouTube channel. That means then you're creating something on a regular basis, information or entertainment, and you are connecting with people. audio. And as I said, some people are doing podcasting. Other people are doing live online radio and some combination of online radio and video blogging or both. You'll see people now that are radio hosts and they're actually broadcasting YouTube simultaneously or slightly thereafter, showing their recordings. You can do audio on Blog Talk Radio where you can do it live, and you can do it through iTunes where you're going to set up recorded audio. You can do audio and visual training, which is pretty much what we're doing right now. You are on a webinar, or you are on, maybe you're watching a recording of one, and basically we are doing training. That is another way of connecting. Now, even if you do that, I would suggest that you do some other form of connection, but you could suffice just to do nothing but training. You can also do live in-person training. And again, I would put that in the same category as webinars or visual training, in that if you're doing those two things, I would still recommend that you're doing some kind of connection using video or audio in particular, or written. Um, so what are you going to have to do? Before you decide on what you're going to have to decide on which platform you're going to use. And that's going to be pretty important. You're going to have to first decide what you're going to talk about. So, you can do something broadly in terms of business, but I would suggest that you really try to narrow down some topic or niche, or what I even call sub niche. The further you can narrow it down, as I think Mike Koenig said 10 years ago, the riches are in the niches. And without being corny or without being overly, overly genuous about this, you really do have to narrow something down. You have to have some affinity towards your topic. And some people say passion. You've got to like what you're talking about, because basically you've got to be able to get up and create content, or you've got to be able to get up and talk to people about something. And you sort of have to be able to do that even when you don't feel like doing it. And one of the ways you're able to overcome that is to have some affinity toward the topic. The other thing you're going to have to do, you're going to have to be ahead of the game and do research. If you don't like the topic, you're not going to do the additional research. If you don't do the topic, if you don't like the topic, you're not going to do the additional reading. You're not going to meet the additional people that you need. So again, you're going to have some affinity towards your topic. You're going to have the ability to take in massive amounts of content, giving the audience the overflow. And this is what I'm talking about. Basically, if you have affinity toward the topic, you're going to do a lot of reading. You're going to do more than what's necessary. You're not going to have a quota every single day. In fact, what you're going to probably be doing, if you've picked the right topic, you're going to be cutting things out. You're going to have to figure out what not to tell people. And again, excuse me, when you're communicating to people on a regular basis, you're just giving people the overflow. That's how you know you've picked the right topic. And you need to figure that out before you decide on a platform. You need to be able to see alternative ways to monetize. Now, this is important, because if you don't monetize your information sharing, you won't be sharing it for long. Eventually, what's going to take precedent is what you got to do in order to, either keep a roof over your head in order to generate more income, one or the other. And so if you're going to connect with an audience, it's going to be great, but you've got to be able to see more than one way of being able to monetize what it is you're doing. You need to be able to do something like sell information products. So if you're in a marketplace and you can sell information products, or you see other people selling information products or advice products, then you're probably going to be able to do well in that market, in that niche, in that sub niche. If you see people and you see them able to secure sponsorship, if you see that in the sub niche you're in, that's probably going to be a good sub niche to be in. That means then that people are willing to spend money in order to reach the audience that you're going to be reaching with your consistent information. If you see people advertising on websites or advertising in that spot or in that market, that's going to be a good place, because that means then that wherever you're delivering your information, someone may be willing to advertise, right? It's the same thing as sponsorship. If you see people participating in affiliate marketing. Now, if you don't know what affiliate marketing is, basically it is a way for someone to be able to take a product that isn't theirs and sell it to their audience, right? And so if you see people in the market you're going into and they are selling affiliate products, or they have affiliate relationships, then that's probably going to be a good one to be in. If you see these alternatives within your sub niche, this is going to be a good one for you to be in, and you're going to be able to think through these things. You want to think through these things before you decide what you're going to do. And you're also going to want to do what I call figure out if there's evidence of monetizable interest in the subject. Evidence of monetizable interest. What do we mean by that? What is evidence of monetizable interest? Um, in other words, do you see lots of topics on Kindle or books with reviews? That means that people were willing to buy information, right? That means that people are willing to buy electronic information. And so that's going to be important. That means then that even if you aren't the one to sell it to them, you're going to be able to find other people. Even if you sell it as an affiliate, you're going to be able to sell things to people who want information on that topic. You're going to need to see existing information products that have sales. If you see them, that's evidence of monetizable interest. If you see affiliates with email marketing lists in your market or your sub niche, that is evidence of monetizable information. That means there's money to be made. That means there's consistent money to be made. You can participate. If you see virtual summits with attendees and people are going and it's popular, that's evidence of monetizable interest. You know, sometimes what happens is when you see these things happening, you start to feel overwhelmed. You start to feel like, am I in the right place? Am I going to be able to pull this off? Actually, something that my wife often says, there's always going to be interest. There's always going to be room for someone else. If you see someone else doing something, you are going to be able to do it also. Maybe you're not going to be able to do the exact same thing, but there's room for you also. If you see in-person conferences, that's a good thing. Now, you probably won't see that as much now due to coronavirus, right? Depending on when you're listening to this. However, you will see, if you see these things happening, if you see conferences, then that's a good indication that, hey, there's monetizable interest in that topic. If you see magazines, excuse me, whether they're online magazines or offline magazines, that means that people are reading them. That means there's interest. That means you can monetize that niche. If you see sponsored podcasts, blogs, or video channels, that means then that there's interest that you can monetize. If you see something called Help a Reporter Out or the Daily Herald list of publicity opportunities, and you see your topic in those opportunities, that means then that it's a monetizable interest. That means there's going to be people that will be interested in buying something. Now, again, you're probably going to have to figure out what that is, but it does mean that people are willing to spend money on information in that topic. Now, here's what you're going to have to do, right? So let's kind of narrow this down. Now, you may be listening to this or watching this, and you may be specifically inside of a very small but a very dedicated and passionate niche, which I call the make money online or business opportunity niche. And I want to speak specifically to this market right now. Right, you're going to have to be very niche down, right, with the specific problems to solve if you're going to monetize. So it's not going to be enough to be general. You're going to have to find something very, very, very specific if you're going to stand out. In other words, there's a gentleman named Donald Miller, and he wrote a book called Building Your Story Brand. And the mantra in that book is clarify your message so customers will listen. So you're going to have to clarify and narrow down. You're going to have to clarify and niche down and narrow down what your topic is. You're going to have to find hot selling products on Warrior Plus. Right? If you see them, then that's going to be evidence of monetizable interest. If you see hot selling products on JVZoo, listen, those are going to be topics. Those are going to be things that you can probably monetize. If you see contests and on Munchine, affiliate platforms, if you see discussions about these things on social media, if you see discussions on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram, these are going to be the kinds of things that you can walk into and develop things that are going to be monetizable. Now here's the thing, right, that you're going to have to ask anytime you're going to figure out, you're going to try to determine if you're going to launch into a specific area, or you're going to start blogging, or you're going to start a video channel. Are you going to see, right? Are people looking for a career enhancement? Or are they looking for a business opportunity? You need to be able to answer that question because that'll determine how you monetize. So if people are looking for ways to build up their life, build up their career, then that's going to be a certain kind of monetization. If people are looking for a business opportunity where they can make more money tomorrow, that's going to be a specific kind of monetization. And you're going to need to be able to discern that, and you're going to be able to need to be able to act on that. So once you determine that there is monetizable interest, in other words, we can monetize it, it's going to be worth our time to go into it, Then we're going to have to establish the best medium in order to quote blog, in order to deliver information. And so you need to figure out how you, right, you yourself can create the most interesting content, right? In what area or what topic can you be the most consistent? So in some topics, you might be able to be, I say, fairly consistent. You might be able to produce every once in a while. But what topic area can you figure out where you can be the most consistent in? Um, how can you be can you be the most can you be the most consistent using audio, right? Whether it's live or recorded. Can you do this by doing interviews, or can you just talk off the top of the off your top of your head? Can you train and do audio? Can you do video, right? Which is going to be the best medium? Can you do interviews or solo videos or training? It matters, right? Where can you be the most consistent? And then, can you be consistent writing on an every day or every week basis, right? Now, one thing you're going to have to just kind of be aware of when it comes to blogging, if you're going to be a writer, right? We are becoming a less literate society. Now, that can be good and bad, right? That can be a good thing because the people that come to you and they stick with you and they're reading because of you, you're going to have a more loyal and dedicated audience. And typically, the kind of people who read blogs, they are a specific kind of customer. And sometimes, if you can connect with them, they're going to be a good customer to you. Right now, in general, though, people are becoming less literate, right? They're less willing to read. And so you're going to have to be aware of that, even if you decide that what you want to do is blog. You want to do and you want to connect with people on a written area. Excuse me. One thing you're going to have to do at the beginning is to establish a home base, right? So even if you choose not to write, you need a home base for all your content. So whatever you're doing, you need a home base. That's going to be a simple to use, what I call WordPress blog. You're going to need a website. You can also do this on sites like Wix and other places, but I suggest use WordPress because, again, it's customizable. You can always scale it up. You can always come back and have a designer do something to it. And again, I guess you can do that on Squarespace and Wix, but WordPress is going to be the most flexible as of the recording of this video. Right. So again, you need a home base. You need a website. You need some place where you can go and tell people, here's where you go get everything. Here's where you can find out dates. Here's where you can get all my offers. So again, you're not branding here per se, right? This is where all of your different brand names are going to be under your home base, under your website. Wherever that is, you got to be posting content to that site on a regular basis. You should be sharing that across social media. So in other words, you're trying to figure out what you need to be putting on social media. Well, you should be putting on there all of these kinds of things on a regular basis. If you have additional funds, right? You don't have your site designed, as I just said. So you don't have to be fancy with this, but again, whatever your customer expects, you want to give it to them. And if you can have it designed, have it designed. Your most important job as a blogger, whatever you're doing, is going to be to create high quality and irresistible content. So in other words, can you create the kind of interest where people cannot wait before you release something? If they know you're going to be producing a blog every Monday, they should be waiting in anticipation for that content. And this is important, and I love saying this because it's something that we need to hear, as business owners, as entrepreneurs, as solo business owners, as consultants, as information product creators all the time. Brand is not what you say about yourself, it's whatever you're producing every day. Whatever you're producing that matters to customers every day, that's your brand. It's not what you say about yourself. So in other words, don't focus so much on, let's say, what what the right thing is to say or something slick about yourself. Focus on what it is you're producing and how it is you're satisfying the need of your customer. Excuse me. So basically, what I'm saying is, it's about the perception you're creating every day with your actions, and so you want to have that perception to be magnified on your home base. So in other words, your home base, your blog, your website should be a reflection of the things that you produce every day. It should be a reflection of how people perceive what it is that you're creating every day, right? You and I need to establish monetization from the start. That that that's probably going to be something that most people don't do before they start a YouTube channel or before they start blogging or before they start podcasting. You need to think through monetization. And you got to do that from the start because your job is not going to be to sell people. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to start out giving people this fantastic content and then turn around and say, hey, you know what? Now I want you to buy things from me. Establish that from the start. Let them know that, hey, you know what? I love giving you great content, but this is a business or it's part of my business, and I want you to buy things also. Use the feedback you're getting, right, to determine what it is you're selling. So in other words, what topics are people really wanting to hear about? Well, those are going to be the kinds of things you need to create information products about, or to get people who have affiliate products that you can promote. Whatever it is, you should already have something that either you're selling or that you have from others that you can sell. Now, this is going to be some things that you just don't want to be, I'd say, dependent on. Don't be dependent on ad revenue. People, 1 week someone likes your site, they like what you stand for. The next week they won't. So don't build your business around ad revenue. Don't build your business around sponsorship. Again, these are great things to go for, but whenever you're getting them, treat them as icing on the cake. Treat them as things that could go away tomorrow. Never fully depend on affiliate marketing. If that's what you're doing, and again, I understand that affiliate marketing can be lucrative. However, you're putting your business in the hands of someone else to deliver to your customer. You have no control over the experience. So what you've got to do is you've got to make sure you're not dependent on affiliate marketing. Anything that depends on someone else should be supplemental, right? So again, please do not build your business on something that's going to be supplemental. Any revenue source is going to be easy to get, just as easy to lose. And you can do things like branded merchandise, but don't do it so that you've got inventory where you're carrying. Don't buy and carry inventory. Just make sure it's going to be on demand. I think it's called print on demand. And then, one of the other ways to deliver information is deliver it physically. Believe it or not, there are people that still like to get CDs. There are people that still like to get DVDs. Don't miss this part of the market by not giving people physical information or your information in physical forms, right? Determine your monetization from the start of what it is that you're doing. Establish lead generation from the start. In other words, make sure you've got an autoresponder and make sure that every time that you get on the air, you drive people to opt in, right? Make sure you're getting people to become part of your list. In order to get your very best, in order to get your best content and anything else that you've got, make sure people know they've got to opt in order to get it, right? Don't just give it away. Then use your list to develop relationships with your audience, right? That's what you're doing. You are using that list to drive content to each new content piece. So in other words, what do I mean by that? Well, anytime you release something, a new episode, a new blog post, a new video, your marketing list, right? Your customer list, your lead list, you should be telling those people, go and see what I just did. Go and listen to what I just produced. That's how you're going to get people to listen. You're going to use that list. Make sure you're using lead gen opportunities, right? And make sure that they are prominent on your site. In other words, if I go to your website right now, is it evident that you want access to my contact information? Now, it doesn't mean that I'm going to give it to you, but if you don't make it available and you've got it hidden and you don't make it so that I have to see it, then I'm probably not going to opt in. There's no reason for me to hunt around for your opt-in list. So make sure it's prominent. Make sure that if I get interested in you, I can then opt into your list. Develop the kind of giveaway, right, that attracts the kind of person that you want. So think about the kind of person and what they want that you really want to be connected to. And start giving away those things and start using those things as bait in order to get people like that in order to opt in to your list. So I want to close this out by just talking about 8 things that I think that regardless of what medium you pick, these are the 8 things that are going to determine, I guess, some level of success, right? That you're going to be doing, whether you're doing podcasting, whether you're doing writing or blogging, whether you're doing a YouTube video channel. These are the things you're going to have to do. Number one, you're going to have to be consistent. Develop a time and place to deliver content. You need to be like a television show and deliver. The more you do that, the more people are going to become attached to you. Be consistent. If you're going to do it every other week, do it every other week, but be religious. If you're going to do it every week, do it every week, but be religious. Deliver something every single week. Be relevant. Develop some kind of editorial calendar and start planning events and special occasions. In other words, if you know that Thanksgiving is coming up and you have a podcast, you have a video channel, you should be doing some episode around that fact. If you know that, during Halloween, during September, there's back to school, you should be doing something about back to school, right? Develop some kind of editorial calendar, be relevant. As of the recording of this session, we are dealing with a pandemic and we are dealing with the coronavirus. Now, please don't give out health information, right? Don't give out that kind of information, but you should be talking about the ramifications of what people are dealing with. Maybe you should be talking about, the fact that people are staying home, and you should be relating that to your market and niche. Be prolific, right? Narrow down your niche, but then think and talk about everything in it, right? And that's one of the reasons why you really, really, really want to narrow down what it is you're talking about, so that you can be knowledgeable about everything in it, right? Be prolific. Talk about all of it. Be radical. So in other words, take some kind of position and state it openly. Don't be scared to go against the flow. And often when you go against the flow, you become a lightning rod. There are going to be people who are going to ultimately be turned off. They're going to stop watching or stop listening or stop reading. That's fine. Just as many people are going to come back to you as a result of it. And often, even the people that don't like you and don't like what it is you're saying, they're going to tune in because you chose to take a position that makes you interesting. Be collaborative. Don't compete with other people, partner with them. Right? So don't look at everybody that's in your market or in your niche or in your space and look at them as competition. Try to find ways that you can partner with them. Try to find ways that you can create something with them. And then make sure that if you're blogging or you're using your business or using your blog to help your business, that you are treating it like business. So in other words, be about monetization, right? Don't ever not be about monetization. Yes, deliver high quality content. Yes, be concerned about the people that are reading, but be concerned about monetization to a fault. Right? So again, some people are going to listen to you and they're going to hear that you are about monetization. They're going to say, you know what? I don't want to hear about what I need to buy. Well, man, then maybe that person is not going to be the best person to be reading you or to be listening to you on a regular basis. Right? If they're sort of scared or they don't necessarily like the fact you're monetizing. And I'm not saying that you need to beat people over the head. What I am saying, though, is establish it from the beginning. Make sure people know that this is a business to you and that you're taking it seriously. And because you're taking it seriously, people need to they need to buy things in order for you to keep doing it. And then finally, be productive. Right? Make sure you're collapsing your time frames. Right? Make sure that you're working ahead. When I say collapse time frames, in other words, sometimes what you need to do is you need to write 2 or 3 blog posts at a time. We need to record 2 or 3 episodes at a time so that you can have those periods where if you don't want to produce, you don't have to, right? That's what a collapsing time frame is. In other words, what we do is we might collapse the time frame so we produce 2 things that are going to be due in the span that we do 1, right? So that we can take that week off. We might produce 3 things that are due in the span of 1, so we can be off 2 weeks. So collapse time frames. And finally, I think I said finally the last time, but I really mean it this time. Excuse me. Be intense, right? Be intense. If you're going to have to get traction, sometimes the way you want to launch your blog is to do a short period of increased activity, and you just need to do that every so often. I call it priming the pump. You know, do a 30-day challenge, do a 15-day challenge. And basically what that does, that gets people engaged, that gets people coming back to you on a serial basis. They know, hey, I got to tune in every day for a little while. And basically it gets people interested, gets their juices flowing about you. So again, pick a period and be intense. All right. Okay, any questions? Any questions? Any questions about anything that we covered about blogging, right? Broadly defined. Any questions? Okay, everybody. Well, thank you very much for being here. I appreciate you all hanging out with me here. Have a great night and a pleasant tomorrow. Take care.